In a remote, mystical African village where the gods do not tolerate injustice, there was a tyrannical king named Lar. His days were spent laying claim to his subjects' possessions, declaring that it was his right as ruler. Lar believed he was entitled to anything he desired, having confiscated numerous people's lands, horses, and farms. One sunny day, as King Lar and his guards were walking through the village, he noticed a woman of stunning beauty named Noma. Noma was known for her captivating smile and a voluptuous figure that could turn any head as she swept the ground in front of her house. The sunlight enhanced her features, drawing the king's attention, especially her stunning figure. Overwhelmed by her beauty, Lar exclaimed, "Oh my God, this curvaceous body must be all mine." Just as he was about to act, a voice called out from a nearby window. It was Casali, Noma's husband, who asked, "My love, are you not done with the chores? Please come to bed and join me." They were newlyweds and had just moved into the village. Before Noma could respond, Lar ordered his guards, "Take her to me." Noma screamed for help as Casali ran outside. "What is going on here?" Casali demanded, his voice filled with confusion and fear. "This woman is now mine," King Lar declared without a shred of mercy. A stunned Casali replied, "But she is my wife. We just got married and came here to live in peace." Ignoring Casali's pleas, Lar took Noma away with his guards, leaving Casali stunned and helpless on the street. Filled with determination and rage, Casali followed the king to the palace, but upon reaching the entrance, guards blocked his path, denying him entry. Frustrated but not defeated, Casali sought the aid of the village chieftains, hoping that they could persuade the king to release Noma. Despite his efforts and pleas, King Lar remained adamant. "Noma is mine now, and she will stay with me. I plan to marry her and have her by my side forever," he declared coldly. True to his word, the king claimed Noma as his wife and had already consummated their union on the first day of taking her from Casali. When Casali received the heartbreaking news, he was overcome with grief and despair. Driven by his emotions, he made a drastic decision. 3 days later, filled with anger and a sense of injustice, he marched to the king's palace, determined to confront Lar. Upon arriving, he learned that Noma was being officially married to the king at that very moment. Consumed by fury, Casali attacked the guard at the gate, grabbed a sword, and charged toward the king with the intent of ending his tyranny once and for all. Before he could reach King Lar, however, the palace guards overpowered him. Surprisingly, King Lar showed unexpected leniency, perhaps understanding Casali's motive, driven by love and betrayal. He did not punish him further. Instead, he ordered the guards to simply expel him from the palace. Crushed and defeated, Casali returned to his hut, his spirit nearly shattered. The thought of living without Noma was unbearable, and he contemplated ending his life. However, he did not abandon the village, clinging to the faint hope that one day circumstances might change, allowing him to be with her again. Despite the years that passed, Casali could not move on, nor could he quell his resentment towards the king. He lived quietly among the other villagers, but his heart remained filled with unwavering hatred. One unexpected day, King Lar faced a humiliating problem. His manhood was not working as he wished. Despite his desperate attempts, nothing worked, leaving him in a state of panic and shame. Even his wife mocked him, saying, "You are no longer the man you used to be. Why is your manhood as limp as a deflated balloon after a birthday party?" Distressed, King Lar urgently summoned a respected village healer to examine him. However, the healer found no physical problem. Desperate for a solution, Lar secretly traveled to another village in search of a remedy. There, a healer gave him special herbs, promising that they would restore his vitality. Full of hope, Lar returned home and sought out Noma, whom he found highly desirable due to her curvaceous body. Unfortunately, Lar's manhood continued to challenge him. This incident, though distressing for Lar, brought a rare moment of satisfaction for Noma. Under Lar's control, he had endured much unhappiness, but seeing him helpless brought a subtle smile to his face. He has become impotent. He can no longer function, Well done, he thought silently, finding solace in his misfortune. Unable to bear the continued shame, King Lara turned to the village's master oracle for guidance. The oracle revealed that Lara had been cursed due to a recent misdeed. To break the curse, he was presented with two options: find 7 virgins to bring an offering to the god of sexual intimacy in a distant forest, or secure forgiveness from the person he had offended. Feeling the task of gathering 7 virgins for the ritual was daunting, Lar decided to seek forgiveness from the person he suspected had cursed him. His first thought was of Casali, Noma's husband. He summoned Casali to the palace and urgently asked him if he was responsible for the curse. Casali, shocked and clear, denied any involvement. "No, I have not cursed you." Skeptical but desperate, Lara pleaded with Casali, revealing the oracle's message and the dire situation he faced. "I must find 7 virgins to carry out the sacrifice for me," he explained, hoping to elicit sympathy or a confession. However, Casali remained steadfast in his denial. After much pressing and realizing that Casali was not the source of his curse, Lara let him go, but warned him sternly, "Do not speak of this to anyone." With no other options, Lara began the arduous task of fulfilling the oracle's other condition, still unsure of how to clear his curse without knowing the true source of his affliction. After further consultation with the Master Oracle, King Lar agreed to host a ritual sacrifice that required the participation of 7 virgins between the ages of 20 and 30. As per the dictates of the romantic gods, these virgins were to wear only underwear, a bra, and panties during the ceremony. This unusual requirement was intended to honor the gods and potentially restore Lar's manhood. However, locating virgins in the village proved to be a challenging task, prompting Lar to extend his search to neighboring villages. To encourage participation, he did not divulge the true purpose of the ritual. Instead, he announced that the ceremony was meant to ensure the prosperity and peace of the village. To further entice the participants, he promised the virgins substantial rewards, including land and gold, upon successful completion of their task. Initially, the chosen virgins were reluctant, suspecting that the ritual was tied to someone's personal dilemma rather than the welfare of the village. However, the promise of such generous rewards quickly won them over, and they greedily agreed to the terms. Concerned that the virgins might conspire against him if they knew the true purpose of the ritual, Lar took extra precautions. He instructed them to travel to the ritual site separately in order to prevent them from discussing the ritual among themselves, which could lead to doubts or potential sabotage. By ensuring that they remained isolated, Lara hoped to keep the true nature of the ceremony hidden, maintaining control over the situation and preventing any interference. While Lar focused on rectifying his curse, Casali harbored a burning desire for revenge, a desire that was ignited the moment Lara took his wife Noma. Resolved not to abandon the village, Casali waited patiently for an opportunity to undermine the king. When he learned of Lar's plan involving the 7 virgins and the ritual sacrifice, he saw his chance to disrupt the king's efforts. Determined to ensure that the sacrifice failed and thus prolong Lar's curse, Casali devised a sinister plan. He decided to rape one of the virgins before she reached the sacred site in the dense forest, intending to compromise the purity required for the ritual to succeed. On the day of the sacrifice, as each virgin walked alone to fulfill her duty, Casali stealthily positioned himself near a huge banana tree, a strategic point along the path through the forest. He planned to lure the first virgin who came near by offering her a banana, hoping to use this seemingly innocent gesture as a means to enact his revenge. When the first virgin approached the designated spot near the banana tree, Casali, disguised as a peasant, was waiting for her. His disguise was perfect, making him unrecognizable to anyone who might pass by. As the young woman approached, he called out to her, feigning concern, "You look tired, young woman. Why don't you stop for a moment and eat a banana to relax your beautiful mind?" When the first virgin approached to accept the offer, Casali's true intentions emerged. He violently assaulted her, breaking the sanctity required for the ritual. After the terrible act, Casali coldly ordered her to return home, declaring that she was no longer fit for sacrifice, given that she was no longer a virgin. Desperate and crying, the first virgin faced a cruel dilemma. Despite knowing she no longer met the criteria of the ritual, she looked upon the rewards of land and gold promised by King Lar. Driven by desperation and the possibility of still claiming those rewards, she decided to continue on her way and participate in the ritual, despite no longer being a virgin. However, Casali could not stop with the first virgin he assaulted. He had enjoyed the sweetness of intimacy and wanted more. "Oh my God, sweet virgins, I must have more fun here," he thought. Determined to sleep with more, he did not stop until he had had intercourse with all 7 virgins one by one under the enormous banana tree. His heinous acts not only shattered the innocence of each victim, but also sabotaged the purity of the ritual, ensuring its failure. After completing his horrendous acts, Casali fled, leaving behind a wake of trauma and devastation. The repercussions of his actions would soon unfold, affecting not only the lives of the 7 virgins, but the fate of King Lara and the entire village. After the ritual, when King Lar found that his manhood was still not working, his frustration reached a boiling point. Desperate for answers, he returned to the master oracle seeking an explanation for the ritual's failure. The perplexed oracle speculated that the failure could be due to the participants not being true virgins, suggesting deception on their part. Blinded by rage and quick to assign blame, Lar refused to consider any other possibility. He ordered the 7 women imprisoned, accusing them of lying about their purity and thus sabotaging the ritual. The virgins, caught in a dire situation, were unable to defend themselves or reveal the truth about Casali's assaults, fearing disbelief and further punishment. Still, they knew they were also guilty of the charge against them, for they had all been deflowered, so the ritual would no longer work. Unaware of the true cause of the ritual's failure, Lar's actions only added to the injustice, punishing the victims rather than addressing the root of the problem. This tragic outcome underlined the king's harsh leadership and the dangers of rushing to judgment without fully understanding the circumstances. Over time, King Lar's condition remained unchanged, plunging him into a deep depression. Meanwhile, an alarming development occurred within the prison walls. All 7 virgins began to show signs of pregnancy simultaneously. This unusual situation alarmed the prison guard, who quickly reported the matter to the king. Faced with this inexplicable phenomenon, Lara confronted the women, demanding an explanation for their simultaneous pregnancies. The virgins, still unaware that Casali had assaulted them, were confused and terrified. They chose to remain silent, fearing retaliation or disbelief if they attempted to explain the inexplicable, as they themselves did not understand how they had become pregnant. News of the virgin's condition soon spread throughout the village, sparking speculation and rumors. The community was in an uproar with theories and rumors, but the truth about Casali's actions remained hidden, protecting him but leaving the victims to face the consequences and stigma of their situation alone. This turn of events cast a shadow over the village, highlighting the continuing injustices under King Lar's rule. The divine justice of the village gods soon caught up with Casali for the grievous sins he had committed against the virgins. The gods cursed him, ensuring that his misdeeds would not remain hidden. Casali, once a shrewd and secretive man, found himself unable to resist the supernatural influence that took hold of him. The unseen force propelled him towards the market square, the bustling heart of the village, where merchants haggled and rumors flowed freely. There, amidst the crowd, the curse of the gods was unleashed. Casali, feeling strange and overwhelmed, began to scream uncontrollably. His voice echoed through the air, drawing the attention of everyone present. "I have raped the 7 virgins. I have ruined their purity. I am to blame for their suffering," he confessed desperately, his words hanging in the air like a painful echo. The villagers, initially incredulous, gaped at his confession. A murmur spread through the crowd, and eyes turned to him in a mixture of shock and contempt. The truth, which had remained hidden, was now exposed to everyone. Casali felt like a man caught in a trap, guilt and shame consuming him. There was no way to escape the consequences of his actions. News of his confession quickly reached King Lar. Furious and humiliated, He decided to take advantage of the situation to divert attention from his own impotence. Summoning Casali before him, Lar imprisoned him, demanding that he pay for his crimes. "I have given you a second chance, but you have abused it," the king shouted as guards dragged him off to the prison. However, as the weeks passed, the situation became even more complicated. The virgins, now imprisoned and facing the stigma of pregnancy, began to develop a bond with each other. Together, they decided that they would not submit to King Lar's injustice. With the support of their families and friends, they planned an escape. They knew that their only chance for freedom was to unite and fight against oppression. One night, while Lar was holding a banquet in his palace, the virgins took their chance. With the help of some loyal villagers, they managed to escape from prison and head towards the nearby forest. Once there, they felt relieved, but also aware that their fight had only just begun. They had suffered greatly, but they were determined to regain their dignity and face the king. Meanwhile, Lar's helplessness continued to torment him. Realizing that the virgins had escaped, his rage was unleashed. "No one mocks me," he cried, ordering his guards to find them and bring them back by force. But news of their escape had spread through the village, and the people, tired of Lar's tyranny, began to rally in support of the victims. Over time, Casali, still imprisoned, realized that his hatred of Lar had clouded his judgment. Guilt over his actions consumed him, and he understood that he had caused irreparable harm. But he also saw a chance to redeem himself. He began talking to other prisoners and planning his own escape, determined to join the virgins and fight the king. The day of confrontation arrived. As the virgins, led by Noma, prepared to confront Lar, Casali managed to escape from his prison thanks to the help of some villagers who had believed in his repentance. He joined them in the forest, finding Noma, who looked at him with distrust, but also with a glimmer of hope. "What are you going to do now?" she asked him. "I will fight for justice, not just for you, but for all those I have hurt," Casali replied. Together, along with a group of villagers determined to overthrow the king, they hatched a plan to confront Lar. They knew the king would not give up easily, but they were also united by a common purpose: the search for justice and redemption. The ensuing battle was fierce. The villagers, driven by the injustice they had suffered and the oppression they had endured, joined the virgins and Casali in defying the king. Lar, surrounded by his guards, found himself outnumbered and outdetermined. The fighting was intense, and although Lar was a formidable warrior, the strength of unity and the villagers' desire for justice prevailed. Finally, in a climactic moment, Casali faced King Lar. With a mixture of fear and determination, he prepared for the final battle. "This is for Noma and all those you have wronged," Casali shouted as he lunged at the king. Lar, though surprised, fought back with rage. The fight was brutal, but Casali's passion and desire for justice drove him on. With one last powerful blow, Casali managed to disarm the king, who fell to his knees before him. "Your time is up, Lar. Tyranny has come to an end," he declared firmly. The villagers cheered, and the gods, seeing justice prevail, lifted the curse on Casali. Lar, defeated and humiliated, realized that his reign was over. In an act of desperation, he begged for mercy. "Please forgive me. I have been a cruel king, but I have learned from my mistakes," he pleaded. Casali, feeling a mixture of pity and disdain, replied, "I am not one to forgive you. Your actions have caused immense suffering. True justice will be for you to face the consequences of your actions." With that, Lar was banished from the village, forced to live with his shame and the weight of his tyranny on his back. With the fall of Lar, the village began to heal. The virgins, supported by the community, found the strength to rebuild their lives. Although the road to healing would be long, the villagers' unity and determination gave them hope for a better future. Casali, for his part, was committed to being a champion of justice. He recognized that his past actions could not be erased, but he was determined to mend his ways and become a leader who fought for equality and dignity for all. Over time, he and Noma found a new bond, one based on understanding and healing. The village prospered, and the echoes of injustice became lessons learned. The villagers united in celebrating their freedom and the hope of a future where justice and compassion prevailed over tyranny and hatred. Thus, the cycle of suffering was interrupted, and with each new dawn, the village came closer to a world of peace and harmony.